Hi, this is George Alger, and welcome to today's segment of Our Ventura TV. Today's guest expert is Dan White, who is the brewmaster at the Ventura Coast Brewing Company. And today we're going to be talking about the American craft brewery movement. Welcome, Dan.
Thank you.
So tell us, what is this American craft brewery movement?
I think it's just a return to localism and supporting local craftsmen and really knowing the products we're consuming and who made them, and just focusing on quality, locally made products, and avoiding mass-produced products that are behind a corporate face that we kind of never get to meet or anything like that.
Okay, so specifically when we're talking about beer, I mean, there are lots more craft beer options that you can buy at the grocery store, and then of course here in Ventura, it seems like we have not only a number already, but more, and including the one that you work at. So there's something to this, there seems to be, there must be a bigger demand for people wanting that kind of beer, but yet it's not new. So speak to that.
Yeah. So we're just reaching the numbers we were at pre-prohibition as far as how many breweries exist in the United States. Prohibition sort of wiped it out, and when we got back to making beer, it was just big companies producing, we call it mass market lager, just the same product, very, very similar with lower quality ingredients, and really just to make money, not so much to make a quality product. And what craft brewing is about is the opposite of that. How do we make the best beer and use the best ingredients and really bond with our product and stand behind our product.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now you are a brewer,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and you make beer, right? Now beer can be made at home, I understand, and
that's how I started. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Beer is also made in these huge corporations that you
Mm-hmm.
just talked about, and then what is the definition of a craft brewery? Like, how much beer is being made?
Off the top of my head, I can't think of the exact number, but it's the definition legally is a certain amount of barrels produced. It's a pretty high number right now. Sam Adams actually pretty much defines the number of how much beer you can produce to still be called craft. They're the largest craft brewery in the United States.
So I didn't realize that because they're so big. I didn't know they were part of it,
Yeah.
but they still are.
Yeah, they are pretty large. The benefit to that is they push all the lobbyists in the government to benefit other craft breweries, not just themselves, but other smaller businesses that are doing the same thing as they did when they started.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, speak to the difference between home brewing and craft brewing.
So home brewing is, I know some home brewers that get pretty carried away, but it's usually 5 gallons at a time. You can use a plastic bucket or a glass carboy, just a glass jug. But versus craft brewing, it's really just a matter of scale.
Okay.
A lot of the recipes that I make, that craft brewers make in general are come from homebrew recipes that they turn into bigger batches essentially. So it's and the homebrewers are the driving force behind the craft brewing movement, I think, because they're driving the experimentation, creating new styles and recipes, and they're the biggest consumers, I would say, of craft beer also. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in terms of becoming a brewer, such as yourself, is that the common path that you start brewing it yourself? I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a college course for it, or is there?
Sure. There are some courses. UC Davis is one of the oldest in the country. They have a master brewers program, and they also have smaller programs. I did a course there for a brewing science course. But there is a degree program, but I would say that most people, if not everyone who starts in craft brewing, start as a home brewer. I haven't met anybody who hasn't yet, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now let's go earlier in this. Now, what would attract either brewers in general or yourself specifically to home brewing? I mean, you're not that old, all right?
Sure.
So, at what point do you think, gosh, I'd like to make it myself?
I actually wanted to go to culinary school, and I wanted to become a chef. My dad wasn't really going to pay for that, so I kind of stumbled upon it. Someone bought my dad a homebrewing kit for 60th birthday. He was never going to use it, so I decided to try it. And first batch was I caught the bug, and I was like, how do I turn this into a career? So.
Cool. Now, would you say that contests are important to a path? Because I mean, the only reason I mention that is because I know at the Ventura County Fairgrounds every year I actually go in there and I see the ribbons for best craft beers, and is that have any relevance to someone who wants to go into professional beer making?
I know a lot of homebrewers that have dialed in their recipes and even use their awards as an attraction for investors for their businesses. Someone I know just opened a business based off that, very awarded homebrewer, and had these fantastic recipes, just no capital behind opening his business. So, you see these amazing recipes people have dialed in, and it gives you feedback for your homebrew versus, handing it to your friend. And it's like, oh, it's great, whether it's not or it is, but contests really help people dial in the recipes and hone in their craft.
Good. Now, of course, if you are part of the craft brewers movement, or you make beer, you have a very sophisticated palate, and I'm sure that you can tell very nuanced differences between different craft beer. But could the average man do that?
I think given all the beers in front of them, I think so. Training your palate it's a lengthy process, and you learn by trying, and the biggest thing was trying beers with other people and talking about them. Because you might taste something and have no idea what to describe it as, but you've tasted it a million times, and then someone says, oh, it tastes like roses or something. I don't know, just for example, but you're like, oh, wait, yeah, roses, now I taste the roses, stuff like that. So you hear some of the descriptors, especially with wine, people are like, oh, granite and earth, and I'm just like, okay, but I don't necessarily get that, but having someone say the word and then, searching for that on your palate really helps you hone in your skills as a taster.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming back to what you said at the very beginning of this, so you were talking about making things local in general and people being attracted to that, and relating that to beer. So you would say it's a more of a cultural thing regarding craft products.
Yeah.
I think is what you're saying instead of craft beer.
Absolutely.
Okay. So you're saying that craft beer is sort of benefiting from an entire craft production of anything movement.
Yeah, I think people are less into the idea of going to, even just the grocery store and getting, the grocery store made bread and beer and cheese and everything else like that, instead of going to a craftsperson and who focuses, I only make cheese, so their cheese is probably gonna be a lot better than the guy who makes cheese and bread and crackers and cookies and everything else. So just, people who are devoted to doing one thing and doing it as best as they can, making the best product they can. And aside from that, being conscious of where you spend your money, where your money's going, and supporting your neighbors versus supporting a mass corporation that's doesn't really have your best interest in mind.
Okay, so there's a social benefit to supporting local breweries and local businesses in general. There's also the fact that you may just like in this case, craft beer better than other beers. Is there any other advantage that a craft brewery can present to someone who's interested in a beer? They can go to a place and they can have a craft beer or another beer. Is there any other advantages?
With craft beer, our small scale actually is an advantage. So we have a lot more room to experiment. If you're making massive batches of beer and something goes wrong, or you try something new and it doesn't work out, it could be a huge loss. If you have to dump a beer or you can't sell it, something like that. Versus us, we have tons of opportunity to experiment. Like all the craft breweries can push the boundaries, try new things, and if it turns out great, then fantastic. Something new was born out of that. But if it doesn't, then it's not the biggest deal in the world to have to dump it or cut your losses.
Okay. Now, I don't know why I've thought of this question, but health-wise. Okay, now I don't know that most people contemplate beer and health at the same time, but are craft brewed beers healthier than mass-produced beers?
You know, they're definitely, on average, I'd say they're richer in calories.
Oh, okay, didn't know that.
As far as a health benefit, well, actually, that's not true. That's not the only thing. There's been recent research into the benefits of hops, and in general, I'd say craft beer is definitely more highly hopped than the mass-produced lagers. And there's actually benefits for prostate cancer and heart health and brain health. There's several studies going on right now that are saying that, you know, drink a beer a day, it'll probably benefit you.
That sounds far-fetched, but I like hearing it. Okay, that's cool. What's a hop?
A hop, so it's a vine, similar to a vine, except for it doesn't have any tendrils, so it climbs ropes on its own, and they produce little cones. The closest family member in the hop family is actually marijuana. Though, you know, hops on their own aren't supposed to get you intoxicated. They are supposed to have a relaxing effect. It's kind of an old wives' tale. You stuff your pillow full of hops and it'll help you sleep at night. Yeah, hops are just little cones. We use them for flavoring beer as far as it provides bitterness. You get flavor and aroma that can be anything from herbal to earthy to citrusy. Newer hops coming out of New Zealand have a lot of pineapple and passion fruit and tropical fruit flavors. So, and actually just a few new ones, mint and coconut are new flavors coming out of hops too.
Jeez.
So there's a whole wide range of spectrums of flavors you can get from hops.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're running out of time here, but I'm wondering if there is a tip or some advice you might give to someone who's going around to craft brewery facilities and trying different beers. What would you suggest to them?
Well, let's say you're not a huge craft beer drinker or beer drinker in general. I would say try lots of things. You'll find something you like. Even if you're a wine drinker or a coffee drinker, there's something out there for you. And ultimately, just drink local.
Okay, good. So to wrap up, is there a website that viewers can go to for more information? And do you have a closing message or summating message for the viewers?
Yeah, Ventura Coast Brewing.com. Yeah, craft beer is here to stay, so look for it on the rise.
All right, thank you very much, Dan.
Sure, thank you.
This is George Alger signing off for this segment of Our Ventura TV. Until we meet again.